trial already full of discombobulation.
Hey, Camille, have you seen the alpacas? Have you met them? You should totally do that.
Man, this is gonna make for some good entertainment.
I believe you! I believe you! God is with you!
You're gonna die in jail, you devil! Whore killer! It's Judgment Day! It's Judgment Day, bitch, and you're gonna die in jail!
Everyone keeps talking about their beliefs in this whole thing, and it's not important. This case isn't about, like, beliefs. It's about the truth and just making a good decision. And I don't think the problem of this thing is, like, people not believing Amber. Her lawyers tried to make that point, but I think it just went over everyone's head. Where it's like, it doesn't matter if you believe her or if you don't believe her. Is it okay to write this article or not? And that's the whole thing. Like, that's the whole point of this whole thing. And I think maybe people were confused about what they were trying to do. They saw this whole thing as, like, they watched this movie called Gone Girl, and they wanted it to be real life. Like, they really, really, really wanted it to be real life. And against all odds, that's what happened, it seems. And Amber just got stuck in the middle of this. Like, she wants to show people her therapist notes, which is completely unnecessary. She said she thinks that it would change the verdict. I'm not sure if it would. However, I think it's important to note that that it's suspicious that Johnny Depp's lawyers tried to block it on the grounds of hearsay, when it should be seen as evidence of an elaborate hoax, and it should have strengthened their point. And if they care about justice, because they lost one claim against Amber of it being an elaborate hoax, so they should have wanted her therapist notes in there to be like, see, she is histrionic, and look how calculated she was for so many years. So I think they should have allowed her therapist notes in from the very beginning. You shouldn't think of it as hearsay. You should be like, look how wicked she is that she did this since the very beginning. So I think that's something that they should have highlighted a little bit more and say, isn't this something that didn't make sense? And like with Johnny Depp, like, I don't understand why people are taking his side in this whole thing. Like, even if he's completely innocent, I still don't get it. That's why I said from the very beginning, because in the beginning, I didn't believe he hit her ever. I had a different theory, and in that theory, it still didn't make sense to me. Like, why is he gonna take her to court and sue her for this thing? It doesn't make sense to do that, and I was racking my brain trying to understand why he would do such a thing. And now it makes a little bit more sense to me. It's still a stupid move, but I just don't get, like, why would people, like, take his side with, like, his text messages and stuff. Like, and like, I know he's saying, like, it's a joke, and, like, he wants to, like, spread that all over the world like it's peanut butter or something, but I just don't think like, that's something that people would get fired for in showbiz. Like, Megan Fox, she compared Michael Bay to Hitler, and that's an obvious joke, and she got fired from Transformers, and a lot of boys were, like, really bummed out that she got fired from Transformers because of that. So I don't think, like, his whole this whole redemption thing for him, like, I don't get how it's working for him, because he revealed a lot of, like, bad stuff about himself. So I don't get why people are, like, showing up for him like this. Like, it's kind of embarrassing. And even if people don't believe, like, Amber's, like, physical and sexual abuse claims, it has been proven that he verbally and emotionally abused her, I think. and maybe that's why she got the 2 million. Like maybe the jurors wanted to make a point and like throw her a crumb and say that's all that happened, and like they're trying to say that we believe the verbal and emotional abuse, but we don't believe the physical and sexual abuse, and that's what they're trying to say. Like I don't get their decision. Amber says that she doesn't blame them for this decision. She thinks that the reason why she lost is because they love Johnny Depp. I don't think that's what it is about for them. I don't think they like Johnny Depp that much. I think it's more like they just hate her. I think it's all about like they just hate her. Because I was saying from the very beginning, like the only way Johnny Depp could win is if all the jury members like had this weird vendetta against Amber. Like that's the only way Johnny Depp could win this thing. But it doesn't. I mean, and like with the physical and sexual abuse, like I don't get why they, if that's what they're saying, like they don't believe that he did that to her. It kind of doesn't make any sense, because if Amber's either telling the truth or it's like a really well crafted lie and she thought of everything, and people are trying to like say like this is something that doesn't make sense, this is something that doesn't make sense. It all does make sense if you listen to her. Like why would she give you a story that doesn't make sense? And then think, like, if she's a cold, calculated person and she has this elaborate hoax plan, why would she, like, give you a story that doesn't make sense? So, all her stories do make sense. So, it's either, like, a really well-crafted lie or it's the truth. But there's no way of knowing. And all her allegations of abuse, like, they've not been disproven or proven. So they're just gonna sit there till the end of time. So this whole thing that Johnny Depp was trying to do, like it wasn't gonna clear his name. Like he hasn't cleared his name for, like, there's still people that think that he did that stuff. And like I get that there's no clear cut evidence that Johnny ever like physically or sexually abused her, but like, if you say that, there's also, like, no clear-cut evidence that Amber ever physically abused him, because then because you could make the whole thing, it's all hearsay, it's just everyone's word, and the only evidence that Amber physically abused him is, like, based on what she said, and it just seems like you can't, there needs to be, like, some consistency to this thing. Like you can't just cherry pick what times you choose to believe Amber and what times you think that, like, and you think everything she says is the be all and end all, but then there's random times where you just decide like it's all a lie because you don't like what she has to say. Like it's just too flippy floppy for my taste. But I'm not sure if the therapist notes would have actually changed the verdict. I think it would have, like, helped Johnny Depp's team if they let it in. I still don't think they clearly don't listen to the evidence. So I honestly don't trust these jury members as far as I could throw them. Like, this whole thing, like, it's completely inexcusable, indefensible, like, what they decided to do with this decision. I don't know what kind of message they're trying to send to people, but like when I look at Amber's 3 statements, like saying that she spoke up about sexual violence and faced culture's wrath and all that stuff, and you know, this whole public spectacle thing, like it should have strengthened her point. Like she should have gotten the damages more than him, because she was the one who was defamed by speaking out about the abuse. Whether or not you believe her, she was defamed by speaking out about the abuse, and no one has proven that she's a liar. And for them to like punish her, even though everything she said was a fact, like it's just a weird thing for them to say. It's like this is the worst jury ever.
And it is so scary, Dory. I can't tell if you know you're guilty and you're lying, or if somehow in your sick brain you have convinced yourself that you are actually innocent.
Okay, you're acting crazy. I don't even recognize you. You have something crazy in your eyes right now.
No, you're doing that thing. You're doing that thing, right, where you twist it on me. Okay, I see you do it with everybody. You do it with Cassidy, you do it with the press, but you are not a victim, Dory. You are not innocent. This is your fault. So admit to me, admit it, that we killed Keith. Admit it.
I think Amber's therapist notes would be completely unnecessary and useless to this case. Like, we don't need to know all that information. It won't change anything, because like, if people take Johnny's side in this, what they think happened was that Amber would wait until Johnny was definitely in a drug and alcohol induced blackout, and she would take advantage of him and then use makeup and stuff like that to fake bruises and trick him into believing that he had beaten her up when he was in that state, and then tell him that he was a monster and like make him feel bad about himself and have him groveling, and then that way he married, and that could convince him to marry her, and it's like a gold digger thing. And what else, like what would she get from that? Like, and then at the end, like, she's just deciding to hit him in public, in front of people, just for the hell of it, like, just because she felt like doing it. It's kind of like a sketchy plan, and I don't understand like what mental disorder this person would have. Like, there's so many theories going around for her mental disorder, and that's the flip side. Like, it's like, because you think maybe is she gaslighting him, but I'm wondering, is he gaslighting her? Because to me, this whole trial is like the smoking gun. And I thought, like, if he's gonna bring psychiatrists up there and say that she is a crazy person, like, there's so many things, like he keeps trying to like displace the blame onto Amber, like just saying that she was the reason that he lost his jobs. That's a displacement of the blame, because there's so many factors as to why he lost his jobs, and it's not her fault, I don't think. And secondly, I think that he's not shown like that he takes full responsibility for his drug and alcohol usage. Like, there was that time where they played that tape where Amber had yelled at him because he kept spilling his drink on her, and she yelled at him in front of his son, and he said that Amber did something wrong because she like had a normal human reaction in that moment, and she said that she freaked his son out, and like, if we're being completely honest about that whole situation, like, the reason why his son was freaked out is because his dad was like passing out like on the nod in front of him, and like, that's scary to his kids, like, that he was on these drugs when he was around them, and it freaked them out. So for him to displace the blame on Amber, I thought that was kind of sketchy. And then there's that other thing where he said that Amber made that 18-year-old adult cry. And I don't know if that 18-year-old was like, it was like a hay fever thing, or like maybe it was a build-up of a bunch of other factors, and she just was like the last straw. But I didn't think it was right to try to blame Amber for making the 18-year-old adult cry in a tiny interaction like that. I don't understand how that could be her fault. So I had a lot of issues with him when he was saying all that stuff to begin with. And now, like, Amber, like, being given this histrionic personality disorder diagnosis and being told that she over-exaggerates things and she's, like, a drama queen, because people are trying to get to the bottom of, like, this physical and sexual abuse stuff. Like, did it happen or did it not happen? And I think, like, the Australia thing, like, that's the key part. This is a key point in the puzzle, is, like, what happened in Australia. And this is my problem with the jurors, because like this whole thing, it wasn't exactly rocket science, was it? Like this case, like poor Ben Rottenborn got up there and told them, I beg of you, please lead with common sense when you make this decision. And like it just seems like they didn't do that. Like they said, he explained to them that Johnny Depp has the burden of proof. And maybe they don't understand what that means, but they have to explain. Like they must not understand what this means, because it makes no sense to disbelieve Amber's sexual assault allegation if this is what he has to prove, because there is some leeway in what the decision is, because you just have to say abuse happened. You don't have to believe every aspect of it. You just need to say abuse happened in Australia, and maybe people don't believe the sexual abuse, but they must believe something happened. And I'm so curious to understand, like, what did the jurors think happened to Amber when she was there? Because like with Camille saying that Amber's the real abuser in this Australia thing, because Johnny Depp went to 5 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, whatever. It just doesn't fly with me, like, because we know that he got himself out of whatever he was locked into, and he caused all this property damage, like $100,000 worth of property damage. Oh, so much. He just broke everything. Amber was there. There was blood everywhere. He was writing these menacing notes in his own blood. He was like on all these drugs, in a state of psychosis. Again, Amber is in there. What do you think happened to her? Like, I'm just so curious. Like, Johnny Depp, this is a he said, she said thing, and Johnny Depp said that he had a nervous breakdown and he doesn't remember most of what happened. And Amber gave a story about what happened, and if it's a credibility contest, like, why shouldn't she win under these circumstances? Like, I don't see how she loses in this. Like, why is she less likely to be believed? I just think that just because Amber's like good at playing mind games, and because she's strong psychologically, like, it doesn't make her invincible. And if Amber has like these psychological disorders, if she's got histrionic or borderline narcissistic personality, if she's a psychopath, whatever, like, it doesn't make her invincible in this situation where there's a man who is in a drug-induced state of psychosis, and he's breaking everything around him, and he's angry with Amber, because he's angry with Amber because he's writing these deranged notes in his own blood. And with all those factors, what do you think happened to Amber? Because he gives a story about how he lost his finger. He says that Amber threw a vodka bottle at it, and it severed his finger, and at that point, that's when he lost his mind. And it's odd to me. Like, I don't understand, like, what is Amber doing in that time? If that's what really happened, what did Amber do after he severed his finger? What did she, like, what happened to her? Because I know that Johnny Depp is like all over the house, like writing all this stuff. And what does she do? Like, she's just sitting down in the corner doing nothing throughout all this. And like, cause if she's a gold digger, he said this thing about how Amber was upset that she wasn't even in his will. And if Johnny Depp is like putting his open wound and shoving it into the bacteria and stuff, he actually did get an infection because of it. He could actually, like, that's something that could actually kill a person. Like, he could get sepsis and die by doing stuff like that. And if Amber was a gold digger, wouldn't she, like, and she's not in his will, wouldn't she, like, be like, we need to get you to the hospital ASAP? But that didn't happen, and she just ended up, even though she was there with him, when he lost the finger, neither of them remember where he lost his finger, and they spent ages trying to find the finger. And when they found the finger, it was in a ball of tissues. Like, it was all wrapped up. Like, at what point did someone wrap it up in tissues? And it's very bizarre. Like, what did Amber do? Did she like just self-harm randomly for the first time in her life that day for some reason? It's just a bizarre thing to not go with her story on this. I think that maybe people with the bottle assault, maybe they're thinking that if she didn't go to the hospital afterwards, it means something, but it means like it maybe didn't happen. But if you look at the bottle, it just doesn't seem like it would cause that much damage. Like, when she told the story, she didn't say that it was painful. She didn't say she felt anything, that it was just like pressure. She didn't say it hurt her. And when she told the story, like, because she said that blood came out of her, and I just thought that it was like a fight or flight response. Like, sometimes if you feel extreme stress, like, you can like experience spotting, and like a little bit of blood can come out of you. If you're, because I was wondering if she had a panic attack or something, because she said it was like a near-death experience and she thought she was gonna die. So I thought, like, the blood that came out of her wasn't actually related to the bottle at all. So that's how I viewed it. But maybe people have an over-dramatized idea of what it would be, and that's why they disbelieve it. But even so, it's just, again, like, common sense should have led the way. And it doesn't make sense that Amber and Johnny wouldn't like immediately go to the hospital if Johnny severed his finger in that moment and he realized it in that moment. None of that makes any sense to me, and I think people just have like a bad taste in their mouth because they think Amber's schemy and manipulative. But a schemy and manipulative person like her in a situation like that, she wouldn't be lying by saying that she feared for her life. Given these circumstances, I don't think it could possibly be a lie that she's saying that she feared for her life when she was in the situation. Because if there's like a man who's significantly bigger than you and you're in a physical fight with them, and say if he was on top of her at any moment or something, she was wondering like if he could kill her and accidentally and he just didn't know it. I think that's very possible. So I don't know what the jury believes. What do they not think that happened? And it's just kind of strange to me. Like, what's the actual idea of what happened? Like, because I think if you're letting these psychological disorders cloud your judgment and think that nothing can hurt them, nothing can. But in this situation, it doesn't matter what she has or if she's a schemy person on the outside or whatever. I don't think anyone could deny that was a scary time for her. And it's not about like that you should side with the girl over the guy. It's not a gender thing. It's just about siding with the sober person who was given a more coherent storyline over a proven a drunken cocaine-fueled menace. We don't know about the beat women part, but like, you know, just the stuff that he's proven to have done. Like him saying that he was blacked out, that's not a defense. Like, just because he doesn't remember doesn't mean it didn't happen. And that's just an illogical conclusion to come to.
She feels authentic. How wrong you'd be. In a million years, you'd never guess that she strung her boyfriend along to carry out a plot of mutilation and bloodshed because she played you like a fiddle.
To me, she is the embodiment of entitlement. She is the epitome of moral corruption. And, as we've all come to see, she's also a media whore. So she beat the life out of Keith Powell, a man who felt safe with her. Like you right, sir. Like you might, juror number 6. The worst part of all of this is that Dory Steve shows no remorse. She shows no empathy. She just lies. And she lies, and she lies, and she loves how good she is at it. There's a word for people like her. Evil.
The Eastern Columbia building, did you develop a relationship with the defendant in this case, Ms. Heard?
Yeah,
And did you get along with Ms. Heard?
I loved her. I fell in love with her just like Johnny fell in love with her. I fell in love with her. She's totally respectful, gracious to me, that she's got great teeth, that she treated me with complete respect. Anytime I walk into the humor-wise, total locker room humor, demented humor, totally laughed at, the jokes, made the jokes, totally got along with her. Every time I walked into their place, Isaac, you want something to eat? Isaac, you want something to drink? Every time. There's only one time I remember that she didn't offer because I walked in and she's in the kitchen at the counter and she's doing a beauty facial mask, and so she can't offer me. And I'm going, hey, is that something that can help me? And she looked at me and she goes, no. And I'm laughing, and then she laughed after because she didn't realize she was making a joke. So, yeah, I loved her.
I think Isaac's testimony was very important in this case because he just seemed like a pretty genuine person, and when you listen to him, he says that Amber was nice throughout the whole thing, and people seem to not consider that to be a possibility at all for her because this interview is you should have taken some more responsibility, and they're not considering the idea that maybe all her allegations are true. And if all her allegations are true, then it would be ridiculous to expect her to apologize for the stuff that she did. So, wouldn't it? It would be. I think it definitely seems kind of weird to think that she should say sorry to Johnny Depp for any of that, hitting him in that way, in comparison to what he did. If what she's saying is true. And I think in Isaac's testimony, he said that he never witnessed any abuse on either side. He never saw Johnny being abused by Amber, and he never saw Amber being physically abused by Johnny. On both sides, he never saw it because, and that's what made some of Johnny Depp's witnesses kind of sketchy. If they're saying that Amber acts this way in public, how come he never saw Amber that way? How come Isaac said that Amber was completely nice to him till the very end? So I don't know what that would mean, but I think they're not considering that that's a possibility, that she is a nice person and that she was an abuse victim, and that's what you heard on the tapes, and that she doesn't really have that much to apologize for. They think that she's done some stuff, but perhaps Johnny Depp has lied and blamed her for things that aren't her fault, he has done in the past. He has blamed her for things that aren't her fault in the past, so I don't see why it would be hard to disbelieve that. I don't like the way that she's being framed as this vixen, this seductress that tempted him, and this idea that she's a gold digger. I can't believe this gold digger theory. It doesn't add up to me. If anything, I think maybe she's an attention seeker, and for her to do all this, maybe she just has this it's just for her own sadistic pleasure that she likes to watch innocent men burn for no reason. Maybe that's something. But then again, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe Johnny Depp is the one who's likes to watch an innocent woman burn for no reason, because that's what they did to the witches. They were just innocent women that they burned for no reason.
I have done nothing to be forgiven for! I was a fantastic wife. When he was sick, I nursed him. When we were low on money, I stayed within a budget. I cooked his meals, I mended his clothes. For the love of God, I used to check his back for acne. And that miserable son of a bitch has the nerve to understand and forgive me? Well, the joke's on him because I do not understand and I do not forgive.
I almost respect the defense for how they spun a web of lies so distracting, we almost forgot why we were here. But I know you'll see through that strategy, because in the end, rationality and justice prevails. The truth about Dory Seif is that she couldn't get any job that she applied for. So she had literally nothing to do with her life. And that malaise turned into self-hatred. And that self-hatred turned into rage. And that rage burned so hot that the only thing that could put out that fire was the taste of human blood.
Johnny Depp said on the stand that he could never clear his name from these abuse allegations, and that's completely true. Like, if he can't disprove the allegations, if he can't say I was actually in this place instead of where she said, if he can't give solid evidence of him not abusing Amber, then this whole thing was kind of pointless. Like, he got on this he decided to sue her for defamation of character about this op-ed that didn't use his name, and it was after he lost Pirates of the Caribbean. He got fired for that based on the UK trial or something. That and a mixture of, like, he's kind of an issue to them, apparently, because he's, like, late all the time and he's too expensive, and they just couldn't be bothered with, like, dealing with him, I guess. And that's something that they kept trying to explain in the trial. So it wasn't really Amber's fault that he got fired. It wasn't the abuse allegations necessarily, because when she got the TRO to begin with, he wasn't fired from these things. He was allowed to work. He only got fired after he decided to sue the newspapers and stuff. That's the thing that made him, like, that's where all his secrets and his inner head got revealed to people, and they didn't like it. Like I said, like, those kinds of jokes, like the kind of jokes that he makes, are the type of things that gets people fired in showbiz. And then also the drugs, alcohol, lateness issue. Like, he's a liability on set. He's in this other lawsuit for, like, being violent to a crew member. So there's all kinds of stuff, like, with him. He's like drama. So it doesn't make sense to blame Amber for any of this. Like, the displacement of blame to Amber is disgusting. It's just sick that she's getting blamed for all this stuff that's not her fault. And the jury members, I don't know, like, why can't they follow these simple instructions? Like, it's not that difficult, people. Like, defamation, how did the op-ed specifically, it's just the op-ed that defamed him, and they laid out this timeline to show that the op-ed was not the thing that defamed him, and then they just couldn't follow that instruction. And you have to remember, like, the sexual abuse claims that Amber made was all confidential until this trial happened, until she was, like, forced to say this stuff against her will. It was all secret, and she would have been fine to keep it that way, and until he said, like, we want the truth out or something. Like, that's his choice to get this stuff out there. And these allegations, there's nothing he can do about it. Like, these allegations are out, and they will just sit there. It can't be proven or disproven. He chose to put this stuff out there, and I don't get what's in his head. And the global humiliation thing, that helps me out a lot in understanding it. But it's like, it's the fact that like, is it because he's not working that he has nothing better to do except harass this woman for no good reason? Like, that's all I can think of right now. This wasn't a criminal trial. Like, Johnny Depp wasn't in danger of anything happening to him, I don't think. Just by saying like Amber's right, it doesn't mean that anything bad's gonna happen to him necessarily, because there's no hard evidence of anything. You don't have to specify what abuse claims you think are true and which ones you don't think are true. So it was weird that he won this thing, and it doesn't really make any sense. And I get like some people may be confused about what this trial was about, but it's no excuse, like, because they had clear instructions that they had to follow, and it seems like they completely disregarded it. Amber had like there were three statements on Johnny Depp's side, which every statement is factually true, especially right now, because Amber was on the stand. She told her story of sexual assault and stuff, and people started making fun of her on TikTok, and she got harassed by it. And people don't know if it's true or not. That's the thing. It can't be proven. It can't be disproven. It's got no good reason to disbelieve her story. When I think about it, there is no good reason to think that it didn't happen. So it's just strange, like that when they know what's happening out in the public, they must know what's going on out in the world. And with that, they decided to go against her. Like, she's saying that she faced our culture's wrath for speaking out, and it all seems factually true. She was a domestic abuse representative. All of it, it's all correct. Like, there's no reason to say that she was wrong. And the last thing, like, it's so damning that they read that sentence and they did the thing that they weren't supposed to do, because it says, I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Okay, so Johnny Depp is such an unreliable narrator. I find it hard to believe that anyone who's not Johnny Depp would be able to get away with the stuff that he does. Like, if someone does all that property destruction, and he ruins her clothes, and he's on all these drugs, and he's sending messages like rapey text messages and jokes about like murdering his girlfriend and stuff. Like, the combination of all of that, if another guy had all that and the only defense was like, well, I don't remember, I was in a nervous breakdown, I don't remember what I did, I don't think people would back them up. I think you would always side with the other person who said they did this bad stuff to me, because you don't side with someone who is in a blacked out state. You just don't. So it's just, what does it mean that they decided to side with Johnny Depp against Amber in this whole credibility contest? Like, why would he win the credibility contest between the two of them? And I don't even care about that. Like the fact that these 7 knuckleheads that wouldn't know their ass from a handbag, even if they had a head cold, these 7 knuckleheads, they gave them, like, they explained what was at stake in this whole thing. It was Johnny Depp's, his reputation. That's all it was about, versus all the future victims of domestic violence, and like, don't make it difficult for them to come forward with their story. That's what they had to choose between. And Johnny Depp's lawyer said, that's an inappropriate argument. The judge said, no, it's not an inappropriate argument. And they turned it into this, if you've heard about the moral conundrum about like the trolley problem, where there's a lever and there's like one person on a track and then 5 people on a track, and if you pull the lever, you kill the one guy and you save the 5 people. And it's like, would you do it or would you do nothing? And I don't even know like how to comprehend this situation, because like, it seems like they seem like psychopaths to choose what they've chosen. Like, all of them, they have to be psychopaths to do what they did. Like, because now it's like a million people like tied on a track, and they decided to like pull the lever to kill the millions of people in order to save the one guy. It's just weird. It's weird that they would do that. And it's completely indefensible. Like, even if he were completely innocent, I don't understand this choice. That's why I thought it was so obnoxious of Johnny Depp to do this trial in the first place, because you know that that's what the effects of it would be. Like, it's bad news if he would win. So why would you want him to win? It's bad for domestic violence victims in the future if he were to win a defamation suit about an article that didn't use his name and barely talked about the specifics of the abuses, and on top of it, like, throwing freedom of speech under the bus in order to protect him. Like, that's how much Amber's op-ed was correct in what it said. Like, it was factually true. That's the thing that they're trying to talk about, is what she said in the op-ed. Is that factually true? Not what she's saying on the stand. The stuff on the stand you will never be able to prove or disprove. It's just gonna sit there for the end of time. It's just gonna sit there. So all they have to think about is the op-ed stuff. Is the op-ed stuff factually incorrect? And it just isn't. I don't think evidence and logic are very helpful in the courtroom. Like, Amber thinks that showing the therapist notes will help her. I don't think so. It's not about that. It's never about the evidence. It's not about they don't care about the truth. Like, they just, and I think that's the thing that annoyed them more than anything, is like the way Amber's lawyers were so logical about things, and they kind of acted really cocky about it because it was theirs to win. And like, they just didn't, like, Elaine said something about asking the jurors to properly compensate Amber, and I wonder if that's the reason why they gave Amber the $2 million, like, because Elaine said that. Like, maybe they weren't gonna give her anything until Elaine said that, and it made them give these random numbers, like the numbers that they decided to pay out to each other. It was really weird. So I wonder if that's what that's about. But it seems like people get really annoyed when they notice that someone's smarter than someone else. Like with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, it seems like people are thinking that maybe Amber's smarter than him and that she psychologically got one over on him, and they're very annoyed that Amber seems to be a little bit smarter than him. And there's like those theories where she's like taunting him with the outfits, and I hope it's true. I really hope that she really is doing that on purpose, because that would be really funny. But yeah, people got so offended, like in the tapes, when Amber called out every time Johnny Depp was like gaslighting her and twisting her words, and she picked up on it. Like, people were like, oh, she's so authoritative, da da da. And it's just like, she's not being authoritative. She's not trying to control him in those tapes. She's just like standing up for herself, and people take offense to it. So I don't like the way the jurors handle things. It's unforgivable what they did. They're just knuckleheads. They have stones for brains. Like, this decision was stupid. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. And like, from in the beginning of the trial, when I thought Johnny Depp was innocent, and like that he did this suit due to stupidity or something, like, that's what I was thinking. Like, he thought he was gonna clear his name, and in my heart I knew, like, this is never gonna clear your name, man. But it seems like he knew that it wasn't gonna clear his name. But from the beginning, I always supported Amber's side, because she's right and he's wrong. And like with the trolley problem, there's this other thing where they escalate it and they say, Like, imagine there's a train headed to kill 5 people, and there's like, you're on a bridge, and then there's this fat guy on the bridge, like a really, really fat guy on a bridge, and if you push him off, like, it would stop the train from moving, and you'd save the 5 people. And it's like, a psychopath would do that, and I always thought, hey, I would do that. And that's how I was thinking of Johnny Depp. Like, to me, I thought that Johnny Depp could be an innocent man. Like, he'd be like the innocent fat man in this scenario. And I felt like everyone is justified to push this fat guy in front of the bridge, like over the bridge, to stop the train. If the train's like gonna kill like millions of future domestic violence victims. Like, that's how I saw this whole situation. It was like it was a no-brainer to me. It was like, and that's what they were trying to spell out for people. And it's kind of weird. Like, it's not even like they did nothing. Like, they could have easily thrown out both cases and not have it be a thing, and just like decide you both are stupid. That would have been a better option for the jurors. But the jurors did the stupidest decision, because it's like, how do I picture that? Like, they pushed a fat guy on the lever. Say there's a lever that he could fall on, and it would divert the track to kill the millions of people. Like, they killed one guy and all the people at the same time. It's like, it was really weird. Like, Johnny Depp is unsavable. Like, it's unsalvageable. His reputation has to be unsalvageable based on the things that he has done. Like, for real, like the real things that are proven that he's done. Like, he's not like fully okay with people, I don't think. So it's just a bizarre psychopathic decision by these jurors. I don't understand. I thought I was a psychopath for wanting to push Johnny Depp off the bridge. Like, but I just thought I was killing one guy. But this is crazy what they decided to do. That's way more than what I would have ever expected. I mean, it's so weird, like, saying Amber's stuff where she said that she felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out, how these institutions protect men accused of abuse, and like, they're so pathetic, these people. Like, he could easily have done the things that Amber's alleged that he's done. Like, he hasn't disproven it. Like, it's just, like, and it doesn't seem like he's been defamed. Like, how can you win the defamation suit? It really doesn't seem like he got defamed. Amber totally got defamed by all this stuff. But he has all these serious allegations, these heinous allegations thrown on him, and, like, nothing. Like, he doesn't get any of these issues. Like, he hasn't been defamed. Like, look how popular he is. Like, does it seem like he's been defamed?
This morning, I don't think so.
I think that this whole trial, like, you see a lot of support for it, and I think it's coming from people who are abusers and want to make an environment where they'll be more likely to get away with it, or like scare people off from coming forward. Like, that serves them well. So I understand like where they're coming from in this, but like the jurors, like, it's a defamation suit. The instructions are very simple. You threw freedom of speech under the bus to protect a powerful man who's like a proven misogynist, drunken, cocaine-fueled menace. We can scratch the beat women part, because that's up in the air. But like, you did all that for this guy. Like, why? Like, all you had to do is just push him off the bridge. That's all you had to do, was just push the fat guy off the bridge. Just kill one guy. That's all you had to do. Why'd you kill everyone? Like, they're just psychopaths or something. But yeah, it's 7 people. I thought there would be more than 7 people, but I thought there would be at least one who could talk sense into everyone else, but yeah, maybe, I don't know what was up with them, why they couldn't follow these simple instructions. Amber said that she didn't want to blame them. I'll blame them. If she's not going to blame them, I'll blame them. They're all idiots. I'll say it. If she doesn't want to say it, I'm going to say it, that they're all idiots. All they had to do was push the fat guy off the bridge, and everyone would have been fine.
So don't try to act so innocent. You can take that fake apology and shove it right up your hairy...